What's going on, Facebook, YouTube, podcast listeners? Jason Pantana, Marketing Masters here, so I'm trying to let him know that I'm hitting all the mediums. Jason, I'm trying to make sure I hit all the mediums. So, yes, we're everywhere.
You got
all
it.
of them.
That's
hey,
right.
So quick ask. Let's start with an ask. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Trying to up the subscribers on there and get a little action. And if you are listening to the podcast, like it, rate it, and all that fun stuff. But Jason, thanks for being on. I know you're limited on time. I want to dive in and just like dissect your brain and pull out as much tactical stuff as I can. So give me your quick origin story. For the people that don't know who Jason Pantana is, who are you?
I was born in 85. No, I won't. Like, how far back are we going?
Well, hey, whatever you think, man. Whatever the people need to know you.
Hey, Jay, how are you, man? I'm saying hi to some folks who are jumping on. What's going on, Jay? Good to see you. So I've been in this business since 2010. Got a passion for marketing. That's where my degree is. Moved to Nashville, Tennessee, initially as a musician, actually. And then, as did most everybody in real estate, I went through a series of transitions and landed in real estate in 2010. First year I started, I won't give you all the boring details. I actually didn't want to get into real estate when I started. I was in Nashville trying to make it as a musician, and I was waiting tables to make money. And every night people would tell me, you'd be a really great real estate agent. And they used to say it to me, and I was like, I don't want to be a real estate agent. And it was just this thing. I didn't want to do it. I had a wrong notion of what a real estate agent, who that person is.
Yeah.
Based upon, my own biases. Anyways, long story short, in 2010, Nashville was hit with this really terrible storm system that pretty much put the whole town underwater. There were just massive sections of the entire city that were literally like houses were underneath water. It was a huge flood. And I was the restaurant I had worked at was at a mall, and the entire mall got submerged. So we all lost our jobs that night. I was actually there that night when it happened. The Cumberland River was right behind us, and it was creeping up. And then they're like, we should probably go. And so we left. And that was the last day I ever waited tables, which was, I didn't really particularly love doing it. But it was interesting timing because 2 weeks prior, I graduated. I had been doing marketing work and working in entertainment management during the week and stuff. But now I had the official, and I was talking to my wife. I was like, maybe we're done with this whole musician thing and the industry as a whole. Maybe we're done, and I'm going to get a job in marketing. And it was 2010. I couldn't get hired anywhere. Nobody had any money. That was frozen. And so I had a conversation with my wife, and I was like, what does it look like if I try to get my real estate license? And she was super supportive of it, but she
wasn't leaving. That's good.
Yeah. But I had to convince somebody to help me do it. So I remember I made a list of all the brokerages. I didn't know the first thing about real estate. Yeah. Made a list of all the brokerages from my house all around town. And I called them one after the next, and they were all like, nope, click. And then I got one, and it was the one I really wanted. A local brokerage here, and I called, and this guy answers the phone, and for some reason we just started talking. And I started telling him my story a little bit, and he said, I can connect you to one of two people. This first person, she's in charge of our marketing. This is a big firm. We have a whole marketing department. They market the firm, the agents, developments, all kinds of stuff. It'd be a marketing role. The other person, who happens to be her mother, is the principal broker. Who do you want to talk to? And so I said, well, give me the marketing person. I called thinking the principal broker. I was like, but this is too good. Give me the marketing person. So they connect me, and then it goes to her voicemail. I couldn't get her. So I pressed 0 to go back to the operator, and it's Todd. He's the operator. And I was like, she didn't answer, and I got to talk to somebody. So connect me to the mother. And so I started talking to her, and she agreed to have me come into the office. Her name's Bobby. She got me my start. She had me come into the office.
Shout out to Bobby. Get Jason Pantana going. I like it.
Oh, she's the best. Anyways, somehow through the course of the conversation, she agreed to take a risk on me, invest in me, get me started in real estate. I'm thankful to her forever. She trained me on how to be an agent. She was a good trainer. And that first year I was the rookie of the year, did really well selling. And then from there, I won't give you all the details on this one, but by happenstance, I ended up teaching a class on how to use a Mac. I stood in for it was a random thing. I wasn't planning on doing it, but the guy got the flu and I had one. So I was teaching the class. And it just so happened that one of the agents at this office was a nationally renowned speaker who thought I was pretty good at it, I guess. And so he sort of mentored me and gave me opportunities. He would pass my name along to other people, and I would start getting booked at local associations and stuff. And then through his help, I was recommended for a job. It wasn't really a job. It was the National Association of Realtors did this whole launch called Rethink the Future of Real Estate. They started it back in 2011. I had no reason to be selected, yet I got selected to be one of their facilitators, which means they would train me on how to be a facilitator, speaking, all that kind of stuff. And they sent me along with several others. We would pair off and we would go all over the country speaking all over the place. And it was a kind of a welcome to speaking. And I'm still selling and everything. But from there, I ended up getting a booking agent, speaking at different conventions. And then from there, I got hired by the Coldwell Banker brand. And I moved to work out of the Realogy headquarters, which is where I met the man, Tom Ferry. And then from there, I transitioned to work for Tom as a coach and a speaker. And I've been doing that the last several years. And it's been a wild ride. That's my story in a box, I guess.
I like it. I'm coming through audio-wise a little bit on your end, so you need to turn me down a little bit.
Oh, are you? Oh. How about I turn you up? That's my power. I'm just kidding.
I like it. Turn everything up. No, so we're going to address a question. Jay's jumping in the mix, and thank you for the origin story. That was a good one. I feel like we'll make a movie about it later. Jay asks, who does dynamic lead ads other than YLopo? What would you say?
Dynamic lead ads. Okay, so by dynamic lead ads, what we're talking about here, I'm just going to assume, is when you're in the ads manager on Facebook, you have the ability to specify what's my objective. So I can go into Facebook and I can say lead generation. What a lead ad is it means that there's a call to action button on the post itself, and it could say download or learn more. And if when I click it, a little pop-up window appears, and then it's pretty much auto-fill with my name, my email, my phone number, whatever. So that's a lead ad. Historically, what's happened is people run an ad on Facebook, and it links them out to it redirects to another website, which is where the lead capture occurs. Facebook offers lead ads where they can form fill, and that whole transaction of people's contact information can happen inside the walls of Facebook, so to speak.
Yes. So why is that better?
It's an option. So YLopo does dynamic lead ads. I would say, Jay, that you could do dynamic lead ads. I don't think that you have to hire a company to do that for you at all. I would simply go to, and Jay, if you're listening, and then you could, like, if you want to put this link on the title option there, it's business.facebook.com. You can go there, create yourself a business ads account, Jay, which is where you'll be able to post ads on behalf of your page. So instead of just boosting post, you'll be able to run real ads in the same way that YLopo is already doing, I would assume. I assume you're using YLopo. And I don't know offhand what types of, like, a lead ad is a lead ad. I don't know what they're offering because it just comes down to what the offer is. But you could do, in fact, I'm going to Marketing Edge in Charlotte for next week for Tom Ferry. And I'm actually going to teach this. I'm going to teach how to run your own lead ads and do your own, like, download the offer kind of ads to generate leads in Facebook. It's really not that hard to do if you understand the steps. Step one is business.com/Facebook. You create a business ads account where you can post ads on behalf of your business page. When you run an ad on Facebook, there's a whole wizard that step-by-step leads you through the process. First question it asks you is, what's your objective? And you have options at this point. You can say, I want website traffic. You can say, I want video views. I want engagement, like hearts, likes, comments, whatever. And you cannot, well, not and, or there's lots of options. You can say lead generation. And if you select lead generation, what it will do is later on in the wizard, it'll prompt you to say, great, what information are you looking to collect? And you basically think of like Google Forms, where you create whatever form you want. Well, you're basically doing that inside of Facebook where you're creating a form. It could be name, email, phone number. It could just be first name, email, phone number, like whatever. You could decide what fields you want to collect. And Facebook will build that so that when somebody clicks the button, like learn more, download, or whatever, that will pop up. And the cool thing about lead ads versus redirecting to a website is Facebook already knows every user's name, email address, and phone number. And so that means when that person clicks the call to action button, the form is already pre-filled out. So all they have to do at that point is press submit. And so that's pretty cool. So like I've seen Christina Griffin doing this. There are other like rockstar agents out there doing this where They use lead ads for download our seller guide, download our buyer guide, download our community guide, those types of things, where there's a tender, an exchange, so to speak. And they work great. The benefit of a lead ad, I would say, is you don't have to bother yourself with a landing page or anything external. It's just all right there. Facebook makes it easy.
Now, JC, you mentioned some things, and I want to zoom out because I think this is where people have challenges with Facebook marketing. Like you said, you can target for different things. You can target for views, you target for comments, you target for leads, whatever it is you're looking to do. How do you approach what you should do with different content? Like, give me a big picture, macro view of how that looks with Facebook.
All right. So let me make sure I understand the question because we're very macro. So there's tons of stuff I can do on Facebook is what you're saying. As far as my content strategy, how should I look at, and this was a question I think that came up in one of the,
content strategy, because it's like, pay-per-click is simple. I'm trying to get somebody to click on this thing, right? And that's it. And a lot of these marketing things are very simple. Facebook, because there's so many different engagements you can go after, I think we have a little bit more trouble wrapping our head around what the overall strategy is.
So let's do some terminology. Let's do a glossary so we all know what language I'm talking right now. I'm going to quiz you, Tim. Let's see what you know. What's the difference between a boosted post and a dark post?
I mean, a dark post is an ad I create and I run, and it's not a post on my page. A boosted post, I post it on my page, and then I just spend money on getting more people to see it.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. So a boosted post it's actually a post, and I decide, hey, I'm going to boost it. What that means is I'm going to pay Facebook money to show my post to people who don't necessarily follow me on my page, right? That's all it is.
Or
and
people
I've
that do follow
limited targeting options. Now, when you do a boosted post, Facebook's job is to show it to people, yes, but what are you really paying Facebook for? What do they interpret on a boosted post as their objective?
Reach.
Okay, what else? How do they measure this?
Clicks, likes.
Really, it's really just like hearts, likes, and engagement, shares, things like comments. The standard Facebook stuff is what it's measured against. So a dark post is something you create when you go to business.facebook.com. You create the dark post there. A dark post does not live on your timeline or your wall or whatever you want to call it. It's invisible content, and it only lives inside of the news feed of the people who you decided that you want to target with your post. Is that really too technical, or does that make sense?
No, I think that's a very good way to break it down.
So like you could see it, like if you go to anybody's page, I don't know if you guys know this, but you can click on, if you go to any page of any business page anywhere, there's a left-hand sidebar link that says info and ads, and you can click it, and Facebook, through its efforts to be more transparent, will show you exactly what ads are being run at that moment in time. Now, sometimes those ads are just boosted posts. But the way to know the difference is if I see it in there, but I don't see it on the wall, the timeline, then I know it's a true dark post. Make sense?
Yes.
So let's go back to the question, content strategy. If I'm just boosting post, then inherently my strategy is going to be hearts, likes, comments. So I'm simply just boosting my engagement. All I'm really paying for, I would argue strategically that I'm paying for is more attention. Now, I could have a learn more button. They could click it and go to my landing page or whatever. Of course. But I see the potential of a dark post. Like you can get so much more tactical in terms of what you want. I can say on a dark post, Facebook, I only want to pay you money for video views. That's it. I don't want to pay for hearts and likes. If I get them, super duper. I'm paying for views. I have that ability. I can say, Facebook, I only want to pay for, and again, like you can't, to Jay's question, you can't run lead ads as a boosted post. Those have to be run through the ads manager, which is business.facebook.com. Has to be. So I'm trying to find a way to answer this question.
I guess my question is, how do you make these things dance together in a way that generates business?
So the way I've been teaching it is first base, second base, third base, home base. That's sort of my analogy. Like you've heard the terms probably before, like a click funnel. People are like, what's a click funnel? It's first base, then I get them to second base, then I get them to third base, then I get them to home base. I'm not trying to be crude. Like I'm thinking about actual baseball at this point in time. And the objective is like first base. How do I get somebody, like what's a first base type of content? Well, it's not going to be get a home valuation, search for homes. Like that's not first base per se, because what I want to do, I believe, is build a relationship. Facebook is a social platform. So like when we're talking about Facebook or really any platform, I want to build a relationship. And the way I do that is by creating really great content that is welcoming to everybody. So examples that come to mind, Kyle Whistle, East County Eats. He does weekly video shows where he goes and tours a really hot new restaurant. And it's basically like diners, dive-ins, and drives style, like Food Network good is the quality of it. Yeah. But that's a widely appealing lifestyle, community-focused video. That's a first base kind of video, right? So good content there. Like if I'm running it as an ad, my objective is, man, I want as many people to see this kind of a video as possible. I don't expect leads from it. I don't. Maybe somebody says they want to work with me because of it, but really I just want to be on people's radar because of a video like that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then so
that's first base.
That's first base. Like that's an example of first base.
Yep.
So second base, like if you look at Kyle Whistle again, he's got buyer tips and he's got his San Diego market update videos. Mm-hmm. So wait a minute. Now we're getting into the realm of expertise. So let's say it's buyer tips. They're like 60 to 90-second tips, like how to win a multiple offer, the first person to talk to in a real estate transaction. Like he's got all kinds of great tips that basically would guide somebody on free advice if they want to know more. So like they can watch it autonomously, anonymously. They don't have to be known. But again, he can run ads with this particular post and he could boost it. Or like what I don't want to get too technical, but what he could do is he could say, well, my goal here is to warm my audience up. I want people to know who I am and feel comfortable with me. One of the biggest changes that got made was this year. It used to be on Facebook when you're running an ad, like you could say, target people with my ad who are interested in real estate, in buying or selling a house, or they're thinking about moving, right? Do you remember those filters, Tim?
Yes. And those went bye-bye.
Those went bye-bye, which means you're now potentially paying Facebook money to show content to people who have remotely no interest in seeing it, which isn't going to be great for your conversion or ROI.
Yeah.
So what we're teaching at Marketing Edge is how do you create your own audience and warm them up on your own? Mm-hmm. And the way we do that is first base, second base, third base, home base. So first base is widely appealing content. I think the great examples are like Beth Traverso. She's in Seattle. She's going to start working on a show where she talks about how she does flips and stuff and just kind of things that are fun to follow along on. Sandy Payne, she's down in Austin, Texas area. She's doing like DIY home staging tips, things like that. Things that aren't directly about buying or selling houses, but they position her as kind of a, oh, Sandy Payne, I get who that is. Yep. Make sense?
First base. All right.
Second base, I would say is like let's call it the pro tip videos.
I like it.
Buying tips, selling tips, things like that. Free advice. Just starting to get people hire the local expert. We know that statistically. So let's start positioning you as the local expert. Third base, I would say is a market update video. Like that's how I do content, a market update video, like once a month or whatever. And then home base is where you actually make your lead capture offers.
You ask for
those are, yeah. So like that's download our buyer guide, download our seller guide, download our community guide, like PDF documents. You could use a lead ad to do that. That's search for homes on my website. It could be search for homes under this price point. Here's a list of foreclosures. Search for this style of home. Like you could have all kinds of filters in terms of that, but search for homes on my website. Then you create an account. That's lead capture. And then what's your home worth? That's an example. Like those are easy, like home base lead capture offers. But what I would suggest as a great content play is, I mean, I don't have the statistics offhand, but what we're really describing here is remarketing. First, they see my lifestyle community video. Then they see my pro tip local expert video. Then they see my market update video, and you can adjust my list. And you could have 3 bases instead of 4 or 2. I don't care, whatever. And then they see my call to action, like do something.
Sign up.
It's almost jab, 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 right hook, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same thing. You can, I don't want to get too technical without it, but you can actually remarket through this. So like I could say to Facebook, are there any comments? I want to make sure I'm not losing people if there are a lot of comments.
We got one on, we're going to have to hit Instagram next.
Oh, Sandy Payne's
So let's wrap a video and then we'll roll into Insta.
All right, let me wrap it, okay?
Yeah.
You have a choice with your content strategy. You have the ability to say like, hey, show my first video, the community one, to anybody who lives in my farm.
Yeah.
Then you could say, show my second video, let's say it's the pro tip video, to anybody who watched my first video. You could say that. Show my third video to anybody who watched my first and or my second video. And then show my home base videos or ads to anybody who's engaged with my videos.
Yeah.
So like you have the ability to create conditions in terms of like what we know through remarketing is people who interact with prior pieces of marketing, like other ads, are more likely to respond to your give me your name, number, and email address type offers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I'm going to plug video real quick because, you know, the reason why you need to be doing video, especially on Facebook, is because Facebook gives you that option to retarget people that have watched your video. You can't retarget people that looked at your picture, right? You can't retarget people that read your post. Video is the
good
that read your post.
Well, so there's a new one. I was looking at it yesterday. You can actually in the engagement section, there's an option that I'm looking into that says people who interact with my page.
So people that go to your page.
Yeah. So like theoretically, you actually you can target
the power of video is being able to say, show this to people that watch my video for more than 10 seconds.
Well, or 3 seconds. Like you have those options. Suffice it to say, Facebook gives you tons of ways to say, what is remarketing? Remarketing is just marketing follow-up. So like, hey, show this post to people who did whatever I wanted them to do firsthand. And I'm going to use whatever they did firsthand as sort of a proof that they're interested. And I'm going to sort of shepherd them along, like come a little bit closer, come a little bit closer. First base, second base, third base, home base. Does that make sense?
Colin said he could retarget me. I don't know what that means, but it's kind of creepy. Thanks, Colin. Ashton White with the Instagram question said, how do you see realtors successfully using Instagram to generate leads? From my perspective, it's more of a portfolio of your listings activity, and it really comes to following up with people who follow you in direct messages, but I like to know what you've seen. I'm glad you asked this, Ashton, because I think people don't understand how you actually generate business with Instagram. It just seems like a billboard for your business, but what are the ways you can actively engage and convert on Instagram?
I have an answer, but do you have an answer?
Instagram is not my thing. I have lots of ideas, but I haven't executed, and so I try not to comment on things I really haven't executed.
All right, so I'll give you the name of a guy that I think is crushing it. His Instagram handle is Yitzi, YITZI, sells, SELLS, .Toms River. That's his handle. So he sells real estate in Toms River.
Man, Yitzi's got to just chop it down a little bit, that handle. You know?
It is what it is.
I was going to try to type it, and I was like, yeah.
Gave up. So it's yitzysells.tomsriver. It might be worth typing it just because he's getting like, so I met him at the Tom Ferry Success Summit this past.
Hold on, it's Yitzy what?
It's YITZI sells .toms, TOMS River. You can do this. I believe in you, Tim. You got this.
That's it?
That's it. We're like, you made this harder than it had to be.
Damn. All right.
Characteristic. Okay. So Yitzy, he approached me at the summit. He's been a client for Tom Ferry for a while now. And he was like, I'm generating 4 to 5 buyer leads a day and I'm not paying any money. And I was like, prove it. So he pulls out his phone and we start looking at it. And I was like, he really is. And here's how he's doing it. Like, this was crazy. Yitzy doesn't have 10,000 followers. He is under 10,000 followers. Why does that matter? Well, because like, you know, the stories on Instagram, you don't get the swipe up option until you hit 10,000 followers. Now, if you go through business.facebook.com, you can pay for that option, swipe up, but I digress. So he can't do that swipe up option, which is really how you generate leads, because if you swipe up on a story, it's going to redirect to a link, ideally to like a landing page where it says, what's your name, what's your email, what's your phone number.
And then that's where you capture.
That's where you get the lead. So like, that's like people who have more than 10,000 followers. That's how they're doing Instagram. However, most of us don't have 10,000 followers. Yitzy does not either. So if you look at what he does, like, one, he's super engaged on Instagram. So he's creating great content all the time. His life, what he cares about, and his work, it's all blended together. And I think her point was good. Like, it is a portfolio of listings and stuff, but it's more than that. If you look at his stories, he posts stories intermittently all day long. Some of them are just fun, you know, whatever he's doing kind of stories. But he has some standard stories he runs. Just listed, open house, coming soon, just sold. Like, he has those standard stories he runs where he features either some of the video or some of the photos of his listings. And then he always leaves this prompt, DM for more info. And so he's inviting people to direct message him, and he gets like 4 or 5 inquiries every day. So it's like, hey, is this one still available? When can I see this one? What's the price? Is it like how many bedrooms? Is the land in the backyard flat? And an inquiry, you could argue, is a lead because when they DM him, he can then DM them back directly. So we broke it down like he's not paying any money for that. He's getting roughly 1,000-ish, maybe 15, up to 1,500 views on his stories. He's got about 7,500 followers on Instagram. That's pretty much par for the course in terms of the ratio between how many views do I get of a story and how many followers do I have. It's par. I would say the underlying difference is he's asking. He has a call to action, which is
he
DM.
asks in the stories. He's
in the story, he just overlays text and it says DM for more info, DM for details. He tells them what he wants them to do. I mean, like you can think about Twitter back in the day. I read a stat years ago that if you use that RT, which stood for retweet, still does, your chances of getting retweeted went up by like a gazillion % because you asked for what you wanted. So I would say that the greatest opportunity for lead gen on Instagram.
Ask people to slide into the DMs. Just
yes, there's one more though. He's doing one more thing too that you can do. I think DMs is the best one.
Yeah.
Or DM in the using stories to drive that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say also, if you look at his post, he also has a standard template look for just listed, just sold, open house, coming soon. Standard kind of like how he runs. It could be a video, it could be a photo, but he has standard post on Instagram. If you look at his captions in his post, he's got the right hashtags. He tags his location. That's all good. But he always says, comment and tag a friend who needs to see this or whatever.
Yeah.
He's always doing that. And then if you read through every now and again, you'll see somebody tag like, oh, Sally, this is totally the one you're looking for.
Yeah.
And so like he's just being handed leads on a silver platter on Instagram. So I hope that's compelling. I see Instagram as a great place to get. Oh, there's one more. This is a Tom Ferry idea. I got to give this Tom props. You can run the story. You've seen Tom do this, I'll bet, where the first story, because you can add these things called polls and stickers onto your Instagram stories, and people can say yes or no. So you can ask people questions. Like you could say, have you had any thoughts of buying or selling in 2018/2019? Yes or no. If somebody says yes or no, it's going to tell you who they are.
Who's
and
who,
then you ask a follow-up question in the very next story. And the question is, what was the question? I'm trying to remember what it was. What was the question? My brain just blanked on it. Have you done
No, it's are you in your dream home?
Are you? I got that was out of order. That was the second question.
Yeah.
The first question was, thank you, Tim. Are you currently living in your dream home now? Yes or no? So yes, that one first, and then the follow-up is, have you had any thoughts of buying or selling in 2018 or 2019? And if they say then you DM them back and say, I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. What can I do?
And you can do. I feel like you tweak that too a bunch of other ways. You could say, hey, do you know how much of a down payment you need to have to buy a house? Yes or no?
You can do tons. That's great.
Right? I mean, there's just tons of different things you can do with that little yes or no feature. So I love it.
There's also the text entry, ask me a question feature. You could say like, who's the first person you should talk to if you're thinking about buying a house? And it does. I mean, that's probably a dumb question because they're going to think it's you. But it might be like, I'd love to connect you with a loan officer to see what you're pre-qualified for. Like, you could ask tons of questions and invite open-ended responses. And it's the same difference, right?
But look for those opportunities to engage.
Yep.
Past just posting things. All right. Colin asked, what is the best use of boosting / promoting a giveaway so you can collect the best analytics on Facebook and retarget, i.e., what do you think the best strategy would be? He hypothetically might be, this is top secret stuff here, giving away tickets to a very popular barbecue event. So what say ye?
All right. What was the best use of boosting, promoting a giveaway? Well, I'm going to go ahead and say the best use so far is promoting the tickets for the barbecue giveaway. Let me just keep breaking down the question for a little bit. Best way to collect analytics so you can retarget.
All right, I'll let you think about that. Let me pontificate for a second here, Jason.
I would love to hear you pontificate.
One thing that I think you need to do with these types of things is you need to figure out a good way to get engagement from your audience. So whether that is like tag your favorite barbecue place, right? Because as soon as you say their favorite, they get invested, or what's the best barbecue place in town? Because now it's their opinion and they want to tag because they want their opinion to win. Any chance you can get somebody to tag a friend, I think anytime you can ask for kind of cross-pollination from other people's audience to get them to tag and engage with it, I think that's automatically going to be your first win. That's how you like design that original post. That's super important. What you do with it after, as far as retargeting goes, Jason Pantana.
Thank you. I'm going to piggyback on that. So I don't know if you're using a service like Gleam or what you're using to actually power the giveaway. I know that there are other people like Sandra Pike, Sean Ryan. There are other agents like in our Tom Ferry ecosystem who are using chatbots kind of attached to giveaways. And so there's different approaches here. Like one of the simplest ways is like, let's say there is no chatbot and you're just posting on Facebook, hey, I'm giving away, I don't know what the condition is to enter to win. Like, let's say, hey, leave a comment and I'll enter you to win or whatever, or like this and you're entered to win. I don't know. Some people use like, I think it's called Facebook random giveaway, whatever. I don't know what the condition is of entry, but in terms of remarketing to people who engage with the post, that's actually quite easy. Once again, you can go to business.facebook.com and you can create let's ask ourselves, Tim, what would be a follow-up post that would be useful in terms of if I wanted to remarket to those people? What would be useful to them? Does that make sense?
You mean going from first base to second base, like you talked about before?
Yeah. Okay. What would be like? What's a natural progression in terms of that conversation? Yeah. What can I show them?
I mean, you could show them a listing if you have entertaining, fun listing videos that they may be interested in, yeah,
that's fine. We can work. That's fine. So like we say, hey, these are people who engaged with the post that was trying to drive like.
So, okay. Quick question. So can you maybe create an audience based on this post, right? Like, can I create an audience, just the people that engaged with this barbecue post?
Exactly. So you go into Facebook Business Manager. When you get to the section of creating the ad where it says create a custom audience, you would click that button. One of your options is the word engagement. When you click engagement, it opens up Pandora's box of what do you mean by engagement? Do you mean reviews? Do you mean hearts, likes, comments?
Let me jump in again. So you do a video that does a giveaway, right? Video does a giveaway. It takes off, gets a bunch of shares, right? And then after that, you do a video of the event and you retarget the video that's of the event to the people that engaged with the thing. So that's your custom audience. And now you got all the people that engage with the event. You can build a custom audience off of that. And then you slowly start to get a little bit more ASCII. But I think
let me jump in. Here's how you get more ASCII. You got to at some point get them into your real estate pipeline. At some point, you got to like a barbecue event's not a lead. It's somebody who wants free barbecue. You got to transition them. So the way you do it is like the first video is a video of here's the giveaway, here are the terms. You can remarket to anybody who engaged with that post with a video that says, here's what happened. It was a blast, yada, yada, yada. Hey, click the link, learn more, the button, learn more. If you want to get subscribed to my newsletter where I tell you about all the great stuff going on in our community, something like that.
Yes.
Now they're going to my website. And let's say I've got a newsletter where I talk about what's hot and what's awesome in my neighborhood because I'm the local expert. And I'm getting an email address at that point in time. Does that make sense in terms of the?
Yeah, no, for sure. But I think what you're talking about is important because Colin may run an awesome barbecue, campaign. And if the content after that isn't really thought out and really makes sense and connects and does a better job of bringing them in, it's kind of all for nothing, right?
It is. It's no different. Like running the giveaways on Facebook, think of it like this. Have you ever seen an agent, they get a booth space at a local festival and they're like, enter to win a free bicycle or whatever. And they get like 1,000 people filling out the piece of paper and they say, I got 1,000 leads. And I'm like, no, you got 1,000 people who want a bicycle.
Yeah.
The challenge you're faced with is how do you separate the wheat from the chaff? That is those who want the bicycle versus those who may be interested in real estate.
Well, Ray Allen jumped in with a good one, 5 best kitchens on the market, and then slowly funnel down the foodies. So you know who your target audience is, right? If you're going after the barbecue competition, you should be foodies. Then maybe you have something like Home Sweet Arkansas, which is an awesome foodie show, right? And then, I'd be interested to see how much of Ray's clients would consider themselves foodies because he's done a great job marketing to
and
foodies.
Ray knows, like when I'm leading, like Ray's one of my main case.
All the time. Pixel Properties, Ray Allen. Check him out because Jason's frozen here for a second. Come on, Jason Pantana, come back. There you go.
Freeze? I'm bragging on
for a second.
Right now.
Yeah. All right, we do have some hate on the show. Colin said that show sucks. I think it's mostly because he's the jealousy of how amazing Home Sweet Arkansas is.
Ray. Like Ray's like the guy I talk about at Marketing Edge because he's doing it all. He's doing it. Like you should totally check out Ray Allen.
I love it. I love it. So what were we talking about? We were talking about how to funnel people down and how to make this content convert.
Yes. Well, and so I again, that's why I think I mean, this is just my own head, but the whole first base, second base, third base, home base, breaking it down, like, how do I get people incrementally one step closer? Because eventually you're going to have to turn the corner, and it's got to be about buying or selling real estate. And eventually it always will be, because everybody does that at some point. But you also have to, like, if you're just out of the gate bombarding people with home valuation, this and that, like, you might get some leads, but I think you're wasting money on your strategy. Really do.
I would argue that you probably have, like myself included, you probably have a lot of people on here that are doing too much of the opposite, right? We're putting too much content without the ask. And I mean, that's a lot of times for people like me, that's the tougher part, because I like throwing jabs, right? I grew up boxing and that was my thing. Like, I just had a stiff jab, right? And so I always like throwing good jabs, and I'm so hesitant on that right hook to make sure it's a post that adds value and converts. I don't alienate anybody. And so working on that, I think, is really important for a lot of people.
Especially if you're going to really, I mean, if you're going to master the game of Facebook advertising, like, it could be beyond Facebook. It could be YouTube. It could be whatever. I think it's about creating those layers. I know a lot of people, like, this is something that Ray mentioned to me at the summit this year. We were talking about what is the frequency, because Ray he's got layers. He's got Home Street, Arkansas, which I would call his first base. Then he's got his, I'll call it the Real QA show, which I'll call second base. And he usually interviews like a loan officer or somebody like that. He provides expertise about real estate. Yeah. Sometimes it's not just about real estate, but it's usually related, pretty closely related. I would say his third base is his market update. It's called the housing data dump. So he's creating those layers of bringing people closer and closer to the transaction. And then I would say the real killer is his listing videos. Like, that's the home base, where he's like, click the link, go to my website, sign in if you want to see all the photos or whatever. Like, that's how it's a way to get leads. So what struck me at the summit was, I think a lot of people are under these impossible production schedules of, I got to create a video every week. And I'm like, you don't. Like, Ray was doing like once a month, I think, on the Home Street Arkansas show. I think it's like once a month on the Real QA show, once a month on the housing data dump. This is my belief. I would rather see you vary with layers of different types of video series that post less frequently than doing something that's like an impossible schedule to maintain. Does that make sense, Tim?
Yeah, you can't, because then obviously you put that schedule on yourself and then you just don't do it because it's too much.
Yeah, cool.
Sandy Payne said she's retargeting about their loves. Do they like home decor clothes funneling down? And then hit them towards, do they own or rent and so on. So yeah, it's like, find out what your people's interests are and make content that funnels them down based on their interests. So this is where I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, you may want different funnels based on the type of content that's bringing them in.
Yeah, I think so.
That sounds like a bunch more work too, but
to create a lot more work.
Yeah.
So like, I'll use Sandy as an example. She and I talked like 2 days ago or 3 days ago. Sandy, I hope it's okay if I share this with everybody. She's working on some great, so that's pretty much exactly what I do. Secret is out. Ray, I've been sharing your secret for like months.
Hey, let's be real though.
Thank you for being you, Ray.
It is no secret, right? Like, everybody, the info is out there. It's just a matter of who's executing on it.
Well, and it's like, I mean, I was talking to Brian Kochi, who's marketing director for Kyle Whistle. And it's like, again, it's layering. You can call it jab, jab, jab. You can call it layering. You can call it first base, second base, whatever. It's step by step, starting further out where it's widely appealing content and then bringing them closer step by step. That's what it is. But Sandy, so like the question you asked is, do I create different funnels? And I'm going to go against you. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
And here's why. If you have the bandwidth to do that, good for you. Hooray. But like, I'm trying to imagine Ray trying to maintain a production schedule of another show equivalent to Home Sweet Arkansas. And I'm like, I don't know that it's necessary, because food is pretty much appealing to every person on the planet. And he's touring local businesses, chocolatiers, and things like that.
Yeah.
Sandy is doing one where she's talking about home staging stuff. Now, Sandy's background is, before she sold real estate, she was a professional home stager. She's got all the certifications and everything. So she's going to create a show that talks about how to design your home, interior design, things like that. This to me is ubiquitously appealing advice to anybody. And here's what's really critical. It's true to her. It's her
Yeah.
it's her niche, it's her expertise. I would say to you,
I couldn't talk about that, right?
no,
You know?
and I couldn't either. It would be like, I think that desk looks good over there, but I could be wrong. I mean, it's not gonna work. I would say to you, your first base should be something that is true to you, that is widely appealing. Like East County Eats, Kyle Whistle.
Yeah.
I can tell he loves doing it. He likes going out to these restaurants and getting in the back and checking it out. Like, you should do something that's widely appealing to you, and then has the ability to transition it. Like Ray's centers around community lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So like he
loves Arkansas.
It's a perfect name, and it has the ability to eat like home, sweet Arkansas. Then it can pivot eventually to home.
I mean, I gotta be honest though, it's a little like, I try to be abundance mindset, growth mindset, and all that stuff. But like the fact that he's got the beard, he like lives and breathes Arkansas, like he's an Arkansonian to his core, right? I mean, it just doesn't seem fair to me. You know, it's just, he's like a walking billboard for Arkansas, which I think makes his job a lot easier.
You sound jealous.
I'm very jealous. I'm peanut butter and jealous.
Tell me more about
that. Oh man, no, but I think you're right, because so many people see the food videos. That's what everybody does, right? Everybody does food videos, and now everybody is doing a food video. And me, we've talked about this. I'm allergic to being inside the box. I have to be outside the box, and I think people should look for like opportunities to pursue something that they're passionate about. Like, I couldn't do the restaurants because I'm in the worst shape of my life. The last thing I need to do is go eat more. And so I did a couple of the workout videos, right? Like go to the gym and have the
best
have them
walking trails in the city, whatever. It could be that.
Whatever. It could be something, but yeah, make it yours and make it your own. Do something you're passionate about.
Totally.
Okay. Man, Ray's got a question. We'll ask Ray. Ray says, we know what is working this year, and we know that the market is constantly changing. Do you think the media play will last for years, or do you think marketers will ruin the play faster and we have to adapt within a year when everybody gets too congested and muddy? Dang it, Ray, that's a great question. Will this whole digital is the digital mayor thing a fad, or is it the future?
Okay. It's my opinion.
Yeah. Just give me the Pantana opinion.
Do I think the tactics will change? Yeah, they always do. They always change. And if the tactics don't change, the platforms will change. There will be some new policy adjustment on Facebook, or YouTube will do something. Somebody will innovate. Somebody will restrict. Something will happen to change the tactics, unquestionably. But the broader question of establishing yourself, the primacy, like as the digital mayor of your marketplace, do I think that's going to change? I don't. And my reason for believing that is because I do truly think this is a relationship business. It's about generating trust. Now, trust is a buzzword. It's an empty word unless you know what it means to have trust. We know through National Association of Realtor studies, we know through Zillow studies, that the reason why the consumer hires the agent boils down to local expertise. And I trusted them because of their local expertise. Communicating that up front. Now, we also know, like, I'm going to get a little bit, I don't want to get too heady with this.
Do it. No, get heady. We love it.
I don't want to get, this is way too much. We also know the consumer tends to begin everything they do on any buyer journey for any product, anything they do online.
Yeah.
And what they go looking for online is information to validate, is this person legitimate or not, before I even reach that.
Well, let me jump in there, because I think there was a time, let's say 5 years ago, right, where people were clicking get more info, right? And the Zillow leads, the online leads were more valuable because people didn't really understand what was going on. And so I think maybe you had less people going and reading reviews because they were getting the phone call from you and you were closing them before they even found out who you were. Now, when people
reviews factor, and I'm not really talking directly about reviews per se right now.
But what I mean is that the consumer behavior, I think, has changed. Where when Zillow pops up and is like contact whatever, people now know that means they're about to get hit with some phone calls and some emails and whatnot. So I think they're a little bit more hesitant to click that. Now they are going to research more, and the whole digital mayor thing is playing. So I think consumer behavior has pivoted a little bit, and I think it's a great time to do it. But does consumer behavior pivot again? And all of a sudden, you got to be doing something else.
Here's going back to Ray's question, and it's a really big question. I mean, what would it change to? Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
If anything, I see it becoming more the new norm. in terms of, now, do I think some companies are going to play in? Yeah, I do. But I think if you can establish yourself as the digital mayor, the local expert, whether that be through Facebook, through throwing big events, like Judy Michaelis, she's up in Connecticut. She uses events. She does amazing events all over the place in her marketplace. Whatever it is that you do to establish yourself as the person who knows the most about this market, who cares the most, I think you're going to win. One of the principles we teach it, this is going to get super heady. But
I like heady, man. I love it.
I'm a nerd. There's this principle we teach at Marketing Edge, and it's called the mere exposure effect.
Yeah.
And what the mere exposure effect says is that people in general, they tend to prefer or choose to hire or buy from the services, the people, the products, whatever, with which they're the most familiar. In other words, like, if I don't know who you are and I just met you, I'm going to be apprehensive to get too committed to you. Like, we know, like, here's the reason why geographic farming, one of the main things people do is they send out direct mail. Why does that work, and why does it take so long to work? Well, think about it.
I have no idea.
It's the mere exposure. I'm going to tell you why. It takes so long because odds are these people don't know you. But then they get a piece of mail in their mailbox from you. And it's got your name. They toss it. Then they're driving down the street, and they see your yard sign, and they make the connection. And then they're on Facebook, and they see the ad. And then they're driving down the sign. They see another yard sign. Then they get another piece of mail. And then they keep hearing from you. Bam, bam, bam. Everywhere. Your marketing is everywhere. And the more familiar they become with you, this is what the mere exposure effect tells us. The more familiar they become with you, the more they start to trust you. And so that's why they reach out. There's a point where there's no such thing as a come list me call. Doesn't exist, because that is the response to somebody's trust tank or whatever hit a certain point where it was enough to say, you know what? I've been hearing from this person long enough that I think they're legitimate. Like, think about a database. You first get your license. Go ahead.
I think what you're bringing up leads into what Sasha's asking. Are iBuyers going to kill this sort of thing if they take off and get traction? Do they hurt this whole strategy?
Becoming a digital mayor? I'm trying to think how. Let me think.
Well, look,
why do people do okay, this is my.
I think I think a lot of people are downplaying the iBuyer. I think they're downplaying the open door. I think it's a legitimate thing. I think it's going to be a larger part of the market share in real estate. And I think you have to pivot your messaging. Like, you just have to make messaging around, you know what, iBuyers may be a good option for you. You should talk to me and find out. I think you just need to pivot that messaging to address that issue. But I don't think that in and of itself replaces anybody. If anything, I think it leaves it more opportunities for you to get yourself in the mix.
So I'm trying to hear this through the lens of Sasha. So, like, does the iBuyer experience somewhat kind of throw a wrench in my ability to build that trust? I don't know that it does. I think it's, to your point, you have to change the messaging. Like, so let's break down, why would somebody use a Nextdoor? And I know, like, I've heard isolated examples of, sometimes I've heard that they'll pay more than market value for a property. And that's a little crazy. I get that. I don't know what to make of that, other than VC. I don't know how sustainable that is. Yeah. But, like, I think about
they're losing money. It's not.
I don't think it is. Depends on how deep the pockets are. But I think about, like, CarMax, for instance. Why would I go to CarMax? Well, it's an easy experience. It's turnkey, but it's like, I go to CarMax because they'll give me a reasonable amount of my car, and then I can buy from them, blah, blah, blah. The biggest pain point that I think the iBuyer experience was solving in our most recent market was people didn't know where they were supposed to go because their house was going to sell so fast. And then they're going to get lost in multiple offer wars, and I'm going to end up homeless. That was, like, one of the main concerns. And the iBuyer experience says, well, our offer is guaranteed. Just like the CarMax would said, we'll give you this much money. This offer is good for this long. You got a guaranteed sale, which means you can go shopping without worrying about it and then sell your house. I think where that stops working, theoretically, there's my use of the term theoretical for you. Theoretically is, when the market shifts, which it is doing, and all of a sudden you move into a skills-based market where there's a direct link between what is the agent doing to market the property and what are the results we're getting on market. I think that right now the former market has made it easy to be an iBuyer experience because the market sells the houses super fast without a lot of effort. Does that make sense to you?
It makes a lot of sense. And I think as agents, we need to get better at communicating that and telling people, look, like last year, a good agent and a bad agent would get you like, this was your delta, right? This is top of the market where your house could sell, and this is wherever. And as the market gets worse, that delta opens, right?
Yeah.
And so your bottom of the market stuff sells for less. And you really need to be you really need to be on point with presentation, marketing, and everything else in the new market.
We were in Vegas a couple weeks ago for our Blueprint event with Tom Ferry, and I delivered a presentation there called the Listing Launch Formula. And for any members who are watching, it's in the hub. You can download it in the hub. But it just spelled out, here's all the stuff that could be attached to at the listing presentation, all the stuff you do to take a property to the marketplace. And the main point of it was, hey, listen, you need to be able to position your marketing expertise to a seller that says, I think you'd be crazy not to hire me because look at all that I do for you. I was talking to Sean Ryan. He's up in Sarnia, Ontario. And we were talking about, he was at a listing recently. He had just gone through his listing presentation where it outlines like a massive timeline. We're here. And what happens next is this. This is all the stuff I'm going to do for you to take your property to the market. In fact, like his process is so defined, he takes the property to market once a week. And then everybody, like sellers, will wait in line to get their week when he takes the property to market because it's got value attached to it. Yeah. Anyways, he's at the listing appointment. He explains all this to them. And then the seller at the table was like, well, so-and-so said they would do it for this percentage, a lower commission. It was a discounter thing. And you know what his response was? He just goes, and they should. Simply because he had so clearly laid out, here's all the stuff I do for you. I've attached dollars and cents to why it makes a difference for you. So I mean, this is a different question than what Ray was going at, I think. But I think it's a skills-based market. Now's the time to lean in and talk about what you do for the seller to help them maximize the terms. That's my belief. Do more, not less. Don't be afraid. Don't mitigate. Do more.
And I think Ray brings something up. He says, as agents, we need to get better at our craft as agents. And I think too many times we're doing all this stuff to generate leads, right? And we're not focusing enough on tactics that are going to sell real estate. And we need to get better at not just getting the listing, but selling the listing and using this stuff to actually sell real estate and do better at our jobs. So sorry, I'll get off.
I would totally encourage you. Like, I think a great project for November is revise your listing presentation for 2019. Look at it. Like, but this is what I'm sick of seeing. Not just
your presentation, your actual process.
Well, but they're one and the same, because your listing presentation, I'm asserting, is going to spell out verbatim what your process is. Yeah. That's what I think. Mm-hmm. I'm sick of seeing listing presentations where it says, like, we use social media. What does that mean? Sean Ryan says, I do this Facebook post, this one, Instagram here like this YouTube. He shows you exactly what he does when he takes a property to market. Yep. A seller would be left thinking, like, I'd have to do all this by myself, or I can't hire this person over here who's like a flat fee or whatever. It's not going to, he has to attach value to what he does. Yeah. Why would anybody pay more if they got less? They wouldn't. That's my hallucination.
All right. Well, I know you got to jump off here. I do have to address the fact that Colin said Tim's house is shifting too. You are correct, Colin. My house is a wreck right now. I haven't had running water for a little while. That's why it's not No Shave November. It's just, I haven't shaved in a while. So this has to go. This won't be back next week, but we will have another guest with us. Who do we have next week? Jeez, I'm totally off my game. Sam Kamarian, the Big Block Realty founder there. Yeah, so he'll be on. But Jason, I know you got to run. If people want to find you, I'll tag them. What do you want to leave people with? One thing they should do to separate their business from the pack in 2019. What is it? I think
it's what I just said. If I was going to do one thing, I would look at my listing presentation and I would spell out what is my marketing proposal for a seller. Because once I spell that out, it's like, now I'm committed to doing that.
Are you talking about a UVP? It sounds almost like a UVP.
It does sound almost like that, but I'm calling it something different. I don't know. Yeah, it's a unique selling proposition, whatever. I just want an itemized list of, here's all the stuff I do for you. And it should be in your listing presentation. That's all.
I like it.
And then you got to
And then you got to actually do it.
That's right.
I love it. I love it.
Thanks for having me.
Jason.
Fun.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. We'll talk to you soon. Hey, and when is the next Marketing Edge?
Monday. We're in Charlotte on Monday. I think we're actually in downtown Charlotte. I think. It's going to be fun.
Look,
Charlotte Monday and Tuesday this week. And then we're taking a break for the holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
And we're hitting it again at the end of February. I think we're in Scottsdale.
If you haven't been to Marketing Edge, look up the schedule and carve some time out to get there to one that's near you or not near you, but definitely worth the time, especially in the shifting market. We got to be on our game. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Jason.
Thank you, Tim.
I appreciate it, brother.
Bye.